Photoshop CS4 has some new controls for including copyright information and other metadata in a JPEG or other optimized web image. I'm going to optimize this PSD file for the web, saving it out as a JPEG. But before I go into the Save for Web and Devices window to do that, I'm going to add some metadata to the source file. In Photoshop, I'm going to go up to the File menu and down to File Info. In the File Info dialog box, there are a number of categories of information called metadata that could be added to this file. If I click on the Camera Data tab here, you'll see that there's already some information attached to this file that came directly from the photographer's camera. I'm going to go back to the Description tab. The most important information for most photographers is down here in the Copyright area. To attach copyright information to the source file, I'm going to go to the Copyright Status field and change it from Unknown to Copyrighted. Then in the Copyright Notice area, I'm going to type the photographer's name. I'll enter a copyright symbol by pressing the Option key and the G key on a Mac, or holding the Alt key on a PC as I type 0169, and then I'll type the date. I'm also going to enter a title for this photo. I'll go up to the Document Title field, and I'm going to type in Surfing in Oxnard, California. I could enter more information here, but that's enough for now. I'm going to go into this other tab, IPTC, which is the acronym for this international press organization that uses metadata. And here I'm going to type in some contact information. I'll start typing the photographer's name, and it fills that in for me automatically from the other entry. And I could put in some address information. And when I'm done, I'll click OK to close the File Info dialog box. Now I'm ready to optimize the image for the web. I'll go to the File menu and choose Save for Web and Devices. I've covered the other settings in this window in other movies, so I'm going to go right down to the Metadata menu here, which is new in this version of Photoshop CS4. From this menu, I can choose whether to include in the web-optimized JPEG copy of the file any or all of the information from back in the File Info dialog box. I could choose to add no metadata, or just the copyright information, the copyright and contact information, everything except the camera information that I showed you, or all the information that's in that File Info dialog box. Generally, I just include copyright and contact information. I'm happy with the fact that that hasn't increased the file size, so I'm going to accept that and all the other settings here and click Save to open the Save Optimized As dialog box. I'm going to save this file on my desktop, and I'm going to go to the Format area and save not only the image, but also some simple HTML code. And I'll click Save. Now I'm going to go out to the desktop where I'll see what Photoshop has saved. Here's an HTML file, and here is an Images folder. If I open the Images folder, there is the JPEG. I'm going to open that JPEG in Photoshop. I see the copyright symbol here in the title bar in Photoshop, and that appears because I chose Copyrighted as the copyright status back in the File Info dialog box in the source file. I'd like to see what's in the File Info dialog box in this JPEG copy of the file. So with the JPEG selected here, I'm going to go up to the File menu and down to File Info, and I can see that in the IPTC Contact tab, I do have the contact information, and if I go back to the Description tab, I can see that I have the document title and the author and the copyright information. And in the Description tab, the JPEG retained the copyright information that I added to the source file. But if I go to the Camera Data tab, none of that data is there because I chose only to save the copyright and the contact information with the JPEG. I'm going to cancel out of this dialog box, and I'm going to go out to my desktop again to show you the HTML file that Photoshop created. I'll open that in a web browser, and this web browser, like most, will show me the source code. In Safari, I'll go to the View menu and down to View Source. Notice that it saved the copyright information that I added as a comment in the HTML code, and the title that I gave to the photo is now the title in the HTML code, so that if I look back at the web browser, I can see that title here at the top of the web browser window. By the way, I probably wouldn't use that bit of HTML code in my final website, but I might actually use it during the development phase to show someone I'm working with how the image would look in a web browser. So as you can see, the new Metadata menu in the Save for Web and Devices window offers some useful options for saving copyright, contact, and other information with your web-optimized images.